Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite podcast and Stop the Internet Podcast. Yeah, I'm Kelee.
And I'm Tricia.
I'm so sorry about that, by the way.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Wait, I'm looking in like the camera screen thing, and we kind of
I was thinking before we hit record, I was thinking that, but I forgot to say it. But I was like, I should have this blanket and you should have this one, so then we're yin and yang.
Yeah.
I was kind of getting cold too, so I was gonna use the blanket. Do you want to use the blanket?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course. Our matching blankets.
Wait, or should we yin and yang?
Let's yin and yang.
Okay. I did need this blanket, actually. That one is way thicker.
Oh, it is.
It's so warm. It feels so nice.
Oh my God.
Wait, this is so cute. Oh my God,
So
look at
cozy.
us. We are cozy.
It's
Love.
snowy outside.
It's
nice.
It's full winter.
So, an exciting update.
Okay.
I got a Kindle for my birthday.
Love.
And I was just thinking while I was driving over here, I have like a list of books that I want to read that are like popular on like Booktok.
Booktok is crazy.
But they always seem trustworthy because every book that comes up on Booktok as like the greatest does end up being the greatest, I feel like, for a while. There's so much hype around books on Booktok, and it always seems like it's warranted. So I'm trying to get into reading. I got a Kindle. I'm excited. It's just like a personal accomplishment of mine, but like I follow Booktok, and I've managed to go pretty much my whole life without learning the synopsis of any movie or story ever until I see it or read it.
I love that for you.
So I have a list of books, no idea what they're about, just that there's hype. So I can't wait to read them. Verity by Colleen Hoover got a lot of hype around it, and I didn't know why because I was avoiding the storyline and plot and everything. I just didn't really inform myself a lot about the author or the book, so I read it because I was like, I want to get back into reading. It's been a while. I stopped reading in like high school and college because I feel like school kind of took over my life.
Yeah.
I didn't have time. If I had free time, I was like, I have to study or do extracurriculars or see my friends. So I didn't really read. And I wanted to get back into reading, and I was like, well, I mean, I'll try Verity. And it was like a thriller, which I didn't know. It was really good. But I will say within the first two like paragraphs of me reading it, I was thinking this writing style is not good.
Wow.
And I'm sorry to any Colleen Hoover fans because I think it's a very divided universe of Booktok. There's people that like Colleen Hoover and people that don't. She writes more in like a teen, like fan fiction type of style. Her books are like pretty spicy, but the way that they're written is like very, like I said, like kind of teenager-ish.
Are they made for teenagers or no?
I don't think so because the Verity is about adults.
Oh, okay.
And it's like a thriller. I did like it. I did read the whole thing. The writing style was difficult, but the storyline was so intriguing that it kept me going. I did then read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
I want to read that.
I really liked that one, and the writing is perfect.
Wow.
And that author is Taylor Jenkins Reid, I believe.
Okay.
I think she also wrote Daisy Jones and the Six.
I've heard of that, but I've never read it.
Yeah, let me just
I'm
fact check
gonna give away how embarrassing my reading habits are. You guys don't judge me. I could not tell you the last book I read. It was probably last summer that I like finished a book that I had been reading for like a long, like I don't even know.
That's okay.
And then every year I'm like, I should read more, and then I never do.
Yeah, that's my resolution this year, and I'm excited. But yeah, in the past like 5 years, I've only read those 2 books. So it's not like I'm like so much better than you.
No.
But yeah, so I have a list of books, no idea what they're about, just that there's a lot of attention on them. So I'll get back to you.
Yes, get back to us.
Them.
Do you think I would like Verity? I love a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll read that.
I'm curious of what you would think. Yeah. You're
like I'm
maybe.
not going to read it. But no, I really should.
If you do, I'm curious of what you think of the writing style.
Okay. It is so funny to go back and read books that I liked when I was younger. And the way that they're written is just like so childish.
Painful.
Yeah. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And then as a kid, you like eat it up. You think it's like the coolest thing. It's like so mature.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to read A Court of Thorns and Roses. I want to read Daisy Jones and the Six. But I have no idea what they're about. And even Daisy Jones and the Six, I think, is a show now.
Oh.
And my parents watched it. And I've still managed to avoid the entire plot line. And I'm just proud of myself for that.
Love that. Do you like psychological thrillers?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I already talked about this on the podcast. You guys can skip if you want to. Did you watch Saltburn?
No, but I do want to see it, and I've been told I need to watch it, and I don't know what it's about.
I don't know if you'll like it. I think you will.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you what it's about because I had no clue what it was going to be about. It just looked like really cinematic and beautiful.
Yeah.
And it was. It's filmed very beautifully. Okay. You should watch it like ASAP.
Okay.
Because I really want, it's so good.
Okay.
And I really want to know your thoughts.
My boyfriend was saying we have to watch it. He wants to watch it, but I think he's been waiting maybe to watch it with me. But maybe not. I might have read into that wrong. But I will watch it. I'll get back to you about it.
Yes, please.
I try to avoid super depressing things.
That's not depressing.
Like true crime.
Okay.
That kind
it's
of
not
thing.
true crime either.
Okay.
I know the true crime shit is so weird to me. I feel like we've talked about this maybe on the podcast, maybe not. I don't know. I guess there's not really like books or movies. It's more like documentaries and stuff and podcasts about true crime, but I don't think I like it. I don't know. It's just like really weird. It's so, I feel like with true crime, when you're listening to these stories, it's so easy to forget that half of the people in this story are a victim or they like lost their most loved person. Yeah. And then you're just like using the story as like entertainment. I don't know. I have really mixed feelings about it. I feel like I don't listen to podcasts like that anymore because I'm like, this is just so weird. Yeah. I like the fictional ones that are like Saltburn. It's all made up, I think.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
No, I used to like true crime, but
I did too.
I was like, this is giving me anxiety, and now I have all these thoughts of how I can die, right, or be kidnapped, and I'm like, I just don't need that knowledge. Yeah. And also, it's like you forget that they're real people. Yes. Most of the time, I think it's because there's such crazy stories that you're like, this is not real. Right. But like that's the harm in it. It's like then you don't think about how they're real people, and like people don't respect their privacy or their story or what they're going through. So and then it's like, imagine if like something tragic happened to someone you love, and for like the next 10 years on TikTok people are just like, you guys have heard about this crazy case, like, oh my god, could you imagine this and it's like, actually that was my daughter, so it's, I can't imagine, like, it's so horrible, crazy. Okay, let's get into our topic. Today we're talking about underlying issues. I feel like this is like a little game for us to play. I actually forget all of the stories that I pulled for this, so they might be a surprise to me as well. I think I pulled these stories thinking like, I read the title and I'm like, oh, that's not actually the problem that you have. Yeah. So we can debate the underlying issues. Amazing. Love it. Okay, let's go. I refuse to let my boyfriend move in over an argument about decor. How do I get him to compromise? This is a 25-year-old female and a 27-year-old male. I just ended an argument with my boyfriend, let's call him Alan, by informing him I wouldn't be moving in with him after all. He says I'm being dramatic and overreacting. I think he's waving red flags at me. Alan and I have been dating for 2 years and decided to move in together when our leases ended. His ends in 3 months and mine ends next week. We picked out a new place together and I'm set to move in on the last day of my lease. Our agreement was that we would split the deposit and fees. I would move in and pay the rent 100% until he moved in, so that he wasn't paying rent at 2 places and didn't have to pay to end his lease early. Once his lease ends, we were going to add him to the lease, then split the rent/bills 70-30 because I make more and I believe in paying proportionally to what you make when living together. Love it. Tonight, while we were eating dinner, I mentioned that we should decide what furniture to keep and what to get rid of once he moves in. I was under the assumption that I would move in my things to use for the next 3 months, and then we'd figure out how to combine our 2 very different decorating styles when we moved in. But I wanted to know what major pieces of furniture he wanted to keep/get rid of or replace altogether. I want it noted that I never expected him to just let me decorate and furnish the entire apartment. That's when Alan got a confused look on his face and said, "What do you mean? You won't be getting rid of most of your stuff?" I asked him what he meant. Why would I be getting rid of most of my stuff? His reply was, "Babe, you can't expect me to live somewhere decorated the way your apartment is." I was offended by his disbelieving tone, but I understood that my decorating style isn't what most people go for. So I said, of course I don't expect to decorate the entire apartment. That's why we need to decide what we're keeping of yours and what we're keeping of mine and how to combine our different styles. Alan sighed the same way you do when you're trying to explain something pretty simple to someone who doesn't understand, no matter how you phrase it. Then he told me that no guy is ever going to want to live in a place with any of your stuff in it. He even went so far to say that I was lucky he even stayed over so often without complaining. Lucky. It's always the guys being like, you're so lucky I'm doing this for you. Yeah.
Now, I'll admit my personal decorating style is not going to land my place in any interior design magazines, but that just seems sexist and honestly rude as shit. For context, my decor is what one of my friends likes to call Barbie meets goth and another calls neon fairy obsessed with death. There's a lot of bright colors like pink, green, and blue, mostly pink, and morbid decor. Some examples include a Halloween skull bowl I painted and glued rhinestones to, a collection of stuffed animals, a teddy bear. I'm just like skimming over it because I feel like what it actually is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
A teddy bear she got as a child that's colored in pastel rainbow. The couch is pink. The coffee table's teal. The TV stand is gray. Okay, so it's definitely just a choice.
Yeah.
So I love having fun with colorful things filling my home. I was more than prepared to make sacrifices to my style in order to live with my boyfriend, but then he refused to accept any of the compromises I offered. So he basically said no to all the decor. After an hour of trying to find some kind of compromise on what things I could keep, I finally asked him if he was going to try and make me get rid of everything I owned. His response was, "No, babe, I love your clothes." This man actually expects me to move into an apartment, live there for 3 months, and then get rid of everything I own when he moves in. I pointed out that was ridiculous, as I'd have to pack everything up and move it out twice in the span of 3 months, and that was ignoring the fact that he wants me to get rid of things I lovingly made because I couldn't find things to match my style. Alan claimed this was all a sacrifice I would have to make for our relationship to move to the next step. So I asked him if he planned to get rid of his stuff so we could pick out new things together that we both liked. He said no. I hate him.
Alan.
What the frick? He said I should be happy with all of his things because none of it was weird or creepy or covered in glitter. Bitch. I actually laughed in his face. Slay. Alan was pissed and said I'm an adult and I need to start acting like it instead of decorating like a little girl. He said, "You're a fun and quirky person, but that doesn't mean you should be decorating like a 3-year-old. How am I supposed to bring my friends over and not be embarrassed?"
Oh.
So I told him until he apologizes for insulting me and my style and agrees to let me keep at least half of my things, he won't be moving in. My name is currently the only one on the lease, and I'm the only one who can afford the apartment by myself, so I won't be adding him to the lease unless I believe he's truly sorry for what he said. I'm not going to live with someone who is embarrassed of something as important to me as my personal style. How do I get him to compromise?
Dang.
I feel like this is not about style.
No.
Like, I feel like he's embarrassed of her.
Yeah.
To say all of those things.
I was going to say there were multiple insults there.
Yes.
Against like just her style, but there's probably more going on in his head.
I seriously feel like if you didn't love the person's style, wouldn't that be one of the first things you notice about them when you start hanging out?
Yeah.
Can you really separate someone from their style like that much when it's that much of a choice? Like if it was just like neutral, they moved into an already furnished apartment, but like,
yeah,
how does he like her that much but then hate this that much?
I don't know if it correlates like this, but like I wonder how he said he likes her clothes, but like if her decor style is like gothic Barbie, then I just feel like she'd probably dress in a similar way too.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't like him. I don't think they're compatible. I don't know. I don't like the little digs that he's throwing at her.
Yeah. And not to mention the fact that she'll be paying 70% of the rent, but then has to get rid of all of her stuff.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
I feel like he's controlling.
Yeah.
If anything, he should have talked about this like before they decided to move in together.
Yeah.
And how do you wait until you already agree to sign a lease? I feel like he's using her.
Yeah.
I feel like he's using her because he wants to live in a nice like big house and only pay 30% of the rent. And get his way with the style. Yeah. And then he's like turning it on her being like, "Oh, well, you're lucky that I even came over your house."
I know.
Excuse me?
So rude.
No, you're lucky you got invited over.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many situations like that where the guy is like, "I'm such a prize. Like, you're so lucky I'm putting this effort in." Didn't we just have a story about this recently?
Yes.
What were we talking about where it was like they went on a date and he was like, "Oh, you're lucky you're even here because I barely ever take girls out." Yeah, to Olive Garden on a real date. It's like, why is your flex that you put no effort into things? And like, I should be lucky because you don't put in effort to dating and then you just randomly started putting in effort, so now I'm the lucky one?
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not the flex you think it is.
No.
To not put effort into dating.
Right. And this guy about like the decor, he's like, "You're lucky I'm staying over," but as if no other guy would want to ever stay over because of her decor. But I'm sure there are plenty of guys who would accept her and her decor for what they are.
Yes.
And not call her like a child or be embarrassed of her.
Yes. I don't trust him. I don't think it's about the decor, honestly. I mean, to him it is, but I think he just doesn't like her that much.
Yeah. There's something else going on.
Yeah.
There's something else afoot.
Not sure, but I want to break up with my partner over the content of his will. I am very embarrassed because I know that talking about and discussing money is frowned upon, and I agree that I am not entitled to anything I didn't work for. I live by this, and I have since I was 16 been my provider, even though I come from a stable and well-off family with loving and supportive parents. But being independent has always been priceless to me. I started my own company when I was 26. I'm 42 now, and it thrived until COVID when it almost went into bankruptcy. Now it makes a good living, but nothing as it did before. For me, beside having to let go of great employees and the fear of losing my pride and joy in my company, the monetary side never bothered me because I have made good savings and I always adjust well to situations living within my limits. Why this long intro? Just to paint a picture of why my partner's betrayal is more about trust and love for me than the monetary aspect. I have not succeeded to make people around me understand this, because when I told my family that I wanted to break up with him over his will, they called me an asshole. I am a 42 female and he is the 53-year-old male. We have been together since 2009, living together since 2011. We are compatible in everything, and the love I have for him has never wavered. We both make good living, and we bought our beautiful penthouse that we love very much. Around the same time, we started to think about the unpleasant things like death, etc. And since we are each other's family, we wrote wills that we inherited each other because we thought that one leaving earlier could be in peace, knowing the other will not have to worry about moving or lowering their standards. At the time, I made 2 to 3 times more than him. He was very supportive and loving during COVID, and he made me feel I could just sit it out without worrying about contributing to our living just to keep the company afloat. For a year, I didn't take a salary, and I used from my savings, but he made the bigger contribution to the household. After COVID, now both the changes in my economy and advancement with his career, he makes double what I make. We discussed our living situation and if we needed to downsize, but we did the math, and honestly, we didn't even spend half of what we make, so it's all good. During my Christmas deep cleaning of the apartment, I stumbled upon his new will made in 2022 where he only leaves me 10% and 10% to his mother, which is something we already agreed on. The rest goes to his sister and her family. I was shocked because we never talked about this and he never told me. He is still my sole heir besides the 10% we were leaving to our mothers. His sister and her husband fell in hard times due to her getting fired of her high-paying job due to gross misconduct and her husband's job being lost due to COVID. And it turned out they had accumulated lots of debt throughout the years. In no means, however, are they poor. They just don't have the means they had before. In fact, they still are way more well off than any of my siblings, but it has never occurred to me or my family that they would inherit me the same way I didn't expect to inherit them. I feel like that's not how that word is supposed to be used, but whatever, we'll let her slide. I felt nauseous. I want to leave him. I feel betrayed. The thought makes me so hurt. Not only how unfair it is, but how he hid it from me. I love him and I could just ignore this and change my will in secret too, to make my much more deserving siblings my heirs and leave him crumbs, but I don't know. My heart is broken. What do you think? Shady.
That is shady.
Something is weird here.
Yeah. I wonder if his sister like approached him or something.
But it's really weird because even if his sister approached him and was like, can I have like most of your money when you die? There's no guarantee that he's going to die before the sister.
Yeah, that's true.
So I feel like it's more that like he doesn't want his wife to have it.
What if his sister made him switch it and then she goes after him, makes it look like a freak accident, and then she inherits his money?
Wait, what if it wasn't actually him that made the will? What if it was his sister?
We're like, what if?
Because really though, like what would be the reason to just switch things in your will other than like you just hate your wife?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that is such a weird random thing to do. Unless you, strongly dislike someone or you're mad at them or whatever. I've heard stories about like people just changing their wills when they get mad.
Wait, yeah, true. This is so weird.
It is weird.
Why did he change his will? What the fuck? It just is really weird because it's not even like he's old.
Right.
Or like he's gonna like commit a murder. Because like changing your will almost like doesn't even affect you.
Right.
It only affects the person that thinks they're getting your inheritance.
Yeah.
So you just hate the person that thinks that they're getting your inheritance.
Right.
So you just don't like your wife. When you die, your money doesn't affect you anymore, so it really doesn't matter. You just don't want your wife to have it in the off chance that you die first.
Right. Weird.
I mean, I could see him being like, no, it always goes back to him hating the wife. He has malintent some reason.
But then I think there's also something going on with the wife, unless she was just mad when she wrote this, because she said that she should just switch it to her inheritance going to her siblings who deserve it more than her husband. Like that little dig at him.
Well, deserve it more than her husband's siblings.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's why she was like, his siblings are not poor, but they just make bad financial decisions.
Yeah. Sketch.
There's something sketchy, but I almost feel like we don't know the answer because we can speculate, but like, I don't know. I wouldn't trust someone after this though.
No.
There's definitely some shady shit going on and I wouldn't trust it.
Because it's not like it's just a little thing, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
It's like, this is your inheritance, which is what it sounds like is a large amount of money.
Yeah.
Dealing with, and like it would be after whoever passes away. Like that's just a lot of, I don't know, intense things and like important stuff to be dealing with for him to like just mess around with it. Like,
and he just wants to blindside his wife so that when he's already dealing with all of that, then she finds out that she also is now going to struggle financially because the breadwinner died and she doesn't get his money.
Yeah, but
this is crazy.
For someone to mess around with something of that importance, it's like, what are you doing? Like, I don't trust you at all. Yeah.
The top comment was, he basically and secretly took away the security he promised you, and vice versa. If you knew, then you could plan better for your future. He took a coward's way out, and in his betrayal, I would feel sick and devastated. Yeah, I feel like that would ruin a relationship.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about like, oh, when I die, I want my sister to like not have to struggle anymore. It's like he lied about it and wanted to blindside the wife when he died. Wow, what the fuck? That does seem like some shady shit that would happen in a movie.
Yeah, it does. I don't like it.
I don't like it one bit. Am I wrong for telling my partner I want to wash clothes separately? I work from home, so I do the majority of the housework. It seems like if I don't wash clothes every day or every other day, the hamper is always full. My partner throws hoodies that are worn once into the wash, jeans that are worn just a few hours. Now, let me make it clear, I don't mind doing his laundry or laundry together. What bothers me is his view on things. He says these are just chores I don't get special credit for doing. He doesn't feel love or caring by me doing his clothes. We had an argument that because I work from home, I feel like I do the majority of the housework and he just views it as something that needs to be done. He doesn't view me doing them as an act of love or the fact that because I do them, we get to spend more time together. Instead, I get yelled at for keeping score and that he never asked me to do those things. So I told him, fine, I'm going to start handling my clothes and you can handle your own. Am I wrong for this or should I just suck it up and do them? And this is a man in his lower 30s. The partner is a man in his low 40s. Not that it matters, but I also make almost 3 times his income. Just have to throw that in there. We were just talking about this before we started recording.
I hate that he's like, oh, I didn't ask you to do that. Like, no, you didn't ask, but also you don't have to ask. It's just something that has to be done no matter what. You're not doing it, so therefore I feel like I have to do it.
Yeah, like if the partner doesn't do it, it's like, oh, it's not a chore. It's just something that has to be done. What? What's a chore then?
Yeah.
And like, so if he doesn't do the chore, it's just never going to get done. And you're not doing it.
Should he wait for you to ask him to do it? Like,
yeah.
That logic, I have heard that before. I'm like, what are you getting at by saying I didn't ask you to do it? Like, but it still had to be done.
Yes.
What were you expecting?
I feel like it's like immaturity. It could also possibly be resentment. Okay, so Trish and I were just talking about like moving in with people. I was like, I know this sounds corny, but when I move in with my life partner, I almost want to make like a literal list that has like my name and their name and like all the things that we agree on that I'm gonna do and then the things that he's gonna do. And if we can't agree on those things, then like we're not compatible life partners because I feel like compatible life partners agree agree on, for the most part, the things that they do or don't want to do when you live together and you have a partnership. It's like you're on a team. Like everyone has to play in a different position. And then sometimes you can cover for each other. But like for the most part, I feel like I want to have chores that like I know I'm always going to do, and like you know that they're getting done, and then my partner can always do these certain things, and I'm not going to form resentment because I'm like, yeah, I'm doing all these things, but look at the list of things that he's doing too, and he can think the same about me. And I almost feel like they need to have one of these lists, like make a little list physically and like print it out and put it somewhere and like check it off, because like and I don't understand the thing about like the, oh well, I didn't ask you to do it. It's like, okay, so I have to wait for you to ask me to do things, or you just don't appreciate them.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what I do. I can do so many acts of kindness, but if you didn't ask for it, then it doesn't count as like me being a good and like well-rounded partner.
Yeah.
I think he's insecure, or maybe he's just mean and immature.
Yeah, he sounds mean.
Yeah.
I feel like we were talking about also like the traditionally like female role in a household, and women in like the history of like our society, for the most part, they run the household, and it's a lot of work, and no one actually sees all the work going into it. But now I feel like it is becoming more seen and appreciated, but running a household is so much work, and I don't think people understand that. Like there's a lot, if you want to like live in a nice, clean, comfortable space and have your things cared for, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of cleaning, there's a lot of upkeep. Even if you're not in like a massive space, it shouldn't all just land on one person.
Yeah.
If there's two of you, you guys should both be contributing equal parts to running this household, so that you both can appreciate and enjoy like the space that you've created.
Yeah.
So.
I also do wonder if the guy, the partner, even realizes all of those things that need to happen and that probably do happen, but his partner just does them automatically. Yeah. I just think there's so many people, and like I do it sometimes. I like fall into habits where like if I don't clean the bathroom for a while, someone else in the house cleans it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't need to clean it yet. And it's like, oh no, it was cleaned. You just didn't notice it because you didn't do it.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I don't know. I wonder what else the OP does when it comes to chores, and I wonder how many chores the partner does. I just think he's delusional and immature if he thinks that. I feel like I'm like talking in circles a little bit, but I do think that if they are compatible life partners and they want to be together long term, and this is genuinely the issue, they should write down a list of every single task that needs to get done, and don't even call them chores, like just call them a task or like a thing that you have to do habitually in your life to maintain like cleanliness or a home, and don't forget anything, like literally every single thing you do, down to like wipe off the water on the sink after I brush my teeth, like everything.
Yeah.
Just to like literally clarify, like these are all the things I do, and I do them while you're at work, so that when you get home, I can spend more time with you. I cannot do that. I can do them when you walk in the door and then take 3 hours to do them then, and we spend 3 hours less together. I don't know. I do just think maybe he doesn't understand like how long these things take. Yeah. And he just thinks that because you work from home, you should be able to do whatever you want all day.
Yeah. Which is not true.
Yeah. I wonder if he's insecure because he is like, well, you work from home and make 3 times as much as me, so your job must be easy.
Yeah. So therefore you can do this for me because I'm working maybe harder or just, you know, out of the house. Yeah. I feel like it's hard sometimes too if you live with someone who like, I guess I might call myself type A. I also guess I don't really know like all that entails, so I wouldn't want to like claim that if it's not accurate about myself, but
I feel like you get to decide what you are.
I'm a very clean person, and I think that, not to throw this term around either, but I think that I have some like OCD tendencies as well, or you know, like there's a difference, like there's OCD and there's OCPD, which I think OCPD is more of like the clean, neat, freak type thing. Yeah. OCD is more like debilitating and like routines and those types of things. So I don't want to like just say, oh, I'm OCD, and totally disrespect people that actually have like that debilitating like mental illness.
Yeah.
That, like,
I feel like people can be obsessive, or not even, I feel like I've heard like medically, you can be obsessive and you can be compulsive, and you can have tendencies that are obsessive and are compulsive, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have a disorder.
Yeah.
If it doesn't like ruin your life.
Right. I mean, so for me, I do spend a lot of time cleaning.
Yeah.
A lot. And I notice things that I think probably no one else would notice. So I see dirt and I see dust and I see all these things that need to be cleaned like all the time. And I do spend a lot of time cleaning. And I think that it can be hard living with people who notice different things about your space that you're living in, and get bothered by certain things. And then for other people who maybe don't notice these things, like, it's not a big deal when you tell them, oh, I did wipe the water off of the faucet, because maybe they're like, I've never even noticed like watermarks on the faucet, so why is that a big deal? Why are you telling me? And so they won't probably say thank you to you, but then to you it's like, no, I've started doing that for us so that we have a clean faucet like when we brush our teeth. And so I think that there maybe needs to be a conversation there about expectations and, you know, what they expect from each other as far as living together.
Absolutely. We were also, right before we recorded, we just like recorded a whole episode, but we didn't, or we spoke a whole episode but didn't record it right before we started recording. And another thing we were talking about is how you're raised really does affect how you live when you move out into your own space, and how you like treat a home like going forward. And I even noticed it with like something as small, like my dad like was really clean and would make us clean and like wipe off the faucet when you wash your face and brush your teeth, whatever, and would get like not mad, but he would like make it a point to wipe off the sink and like not leave like, you know how when you spit toothpaste it like gets on the faucet,
little white dots.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, of course I know, because I see all dirt everywhere.
That was not allowed in our house. Like my parents would be like, why is this here? This is so unnecessary. And it's not that that's like a bad or like gross thing to do, but now I never do that. And I even notice it when people come over our shore house and there's like all these different people like brushing their teeth back to back to back, and there is so much toothpaste on the sink, and like I just wipe it off. It's not like I'm like, these people are so disrespectful. It's just something I notice, and I'm like, wow, I would never leave that on my sink. And I just like wonder, I'm like, I know they're not disrespecting this house just because it's not there, so like, wow, my friends really leave that on their sink. Not
never
that it's
come
a bad
back
thing, but I'm just like, that's so crazy that like how you're raised, like it sticks with you. And I'm guessing sometimes it's the opposite. Like sometimes if you were probably raised in a house that was messy, like you might go in the opposite direction and be like, my parents' house was like this and I resent it, so I'm never gonna do that with my own house or my own kids or something like that. I don't know. Yes, everyone just has so many different tendencies, and you got to be open about them, or it creates resentment, at least for me. Not that I also was just using that as an example. I don't resent people for leaving toothpaste on the sink, but maybe I would if it was my partner and we lived together 24/7.
And you expressed that it, like, you didn't want that left on the sink.
Yes, exactly. And then if my partner was like, that's not even a chore. Okay, I didn't ask you to clean off the sink. I hate you.
No.
I'd be like, no, that's fine. You never have to ask me anything again. Goodbye. So annoying. They need communication. Oh my God, this one makes me so mad. I feel like this is like a quick little, maybe not. Every time I say that though, then it turns into an 8-hour discussion.
So fast. We'll blow through this.
Am I wrong to break up with my partner over taking my bag without telling me? I am a 23-year-old male and my partner is a 21-year-old female. I have a couple belongings which are irreplaceable because I've used them as long as I've known myself. A bag, a lighter, and a sunglasses. A sunglass. That's so cute. Wait, they just said a sunglass. Sometimes I usually just like glaze. I don't know if that is a typo or if there's actually a difference between a sunglass and sunglasses.
I don't know.
But sometimes I glaze, or most times I glaze over typos because they're so irrelevant. But sometimes typos are so like, they just like tickle my heart. A sunglass.
A sunglass. It's like saying a scissor.
Yes. A little scissor. Okay, I don't know. That was so. Anyway. I love them so much that sometimes I think I have OCD or something. You guys, I really feel like our transitions, like this is why I meant to do this podcast. Like Our transitions, I don't even try. They just come to me.
They're just perfect.
And I didn't plan this. I wish I could take credit for it.
They're just perfect.
But like, this is crazy.
This is how you do it. This is how you do a podcast.
Yep.
Like,
Subscribe.
Learn
Share with your
from
friends. Everyone's probably like, you never have transitions. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Anyway. It literally itches my brain when I can't find them, when I need them, and they all have backstories which aren't related to any other girl from my past. I bought them all for myself. I am normally very generous about all of my things I own. I don't care if someone I love broke them. It's important to me not getting attached to replaceable items. If I can pay someone to take the same thing just as nothing happened, like my new phone restoring data over iCloud, I wouldn't have any problems, and I assure them saying it's okay. Okay, so basically he doesn't care. Even if someone I love broke something of mine, as long as it can be replaced, like an iPhone, I don't care.
Okay.
She knows how I feel about all of this and usually is really cool and supportive about this, and she likes how I don't get attached to things, but suddenly she confronted me about some of my poor qualities, according to her, and I could be okay with most of them, but this one drove me crazy. She knew me for about 5 months now. I never lied about myself. She knew what she was getting into, and yet she wanted me to be cool. So she took my bag without telling me while I'm sleeping and left the house for the day. I know it's a little weird, but because she did that, I couldn't leave the house because my bag wasn't near me, and we had a huge fight and I broke up with her. She said I'm a weirdo, but I think it's just a little bizarre thing I need. Am I wrong?
So she took his bag to like mess with him?
I think it was a test. Or she was like trying to change him and like teach him a lesson about how like this bag doesn't even matter. Like, it's fine. I can go a whole day with it and like nothing's going to happen.
Oh.
I mean, I still feel like that's a version of like a test though.
It's a bag? Why does it matter?
To the girl or the guy?
To the girl.
Yes, that's what I think too. I feel like she's just like testing him.
Yeah.
And she's decided in her head that this thing that's important to him isn't worthy of being important, and she can just take it whenever she wants, and it doesn't matter what he wants or what his boundaries were with these 3 things out of everything in life.
His sunglass.
I would be very mad about this too.
Yeah. It's not like him having this bag with him at all times hurts anyone. Like,
yes.
Just let him have his bag.
I don't like her. I really feel like she's like testing her partner.
Yeah, that's mean.
Seeing what would happen if she like pushed the boundary.
It's like bully behavior.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd break up with the person immediately, but I would. I feel like in relationships when I was younger, I used to just like accept anything and I'd be like, oh, whatever. Like, or I would be mad, but I'd be like quiet about it. Or I would just like brush it off or let it go. But now I feel like I would have like a therapeutic conversation with someone and be like, look, I don't need you. I want you, but I don't need you. And if you continue to do this kind of bullshit to me, I will release you and I won't even fucking care.
Yeah.
So that's out of my face. But seriously, it's like, why do we have to test our partners when it comes to these little things? It's not like he's out here like being disrespectful and cheating on you. He literally asked you, this is the one material item or the 3 material items: sunglasses, a lighter, and a backpack. These are the 3 things I don't want to share. I'll share anything else in life with you and you can do anything. Just please don't use these 3 things. And then you have to go and like prove a point.
Yeah.
I feel like what she was thinking is literally like, oh, you know what? This matters way too much to him. I'm going to teach him a lesson and show him that I can take the bag. I can take anything and I'm not going to ruin it. And his life is going to be exactly the same. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You didn't need to do that. What was that for?
It feels like she's a toddler and like she has like all these toys and all these things that she's allowed to play with and has right at her disposal. And the one thing she can't have is like the one thing that she needs to have. That she wants.
But it's not because
like babies.
Exactly. It's like, it's not because they need it. It's because they want what they can't have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he needs to ask her, like, for real, like, dig deep down. Why did you feel the need to do this and to test me? Like, really, why do you need to test me?
Yes.
Is this necessary in our relationship and in your life as a person to test me, like another just person living their life? You know what I mean? Like, why? In the grand scheme of things, why was that necessary?
I completely agree with you. I feel like there's so many instances in like conversation where people try to like prove these points that are so irrelevant and unnecessary, and they like go out of their way to prove a point about some stupid shit that means nothing. I really can't think of one other example, but like this example is like she's just trying so hard to prove to this guy that this bag doesn't matter and she's able to like use it and nothing's gonna happen. When like, why are you trying to do that? Why do you need to prove this to him? Like, why can't you just let your boyfriend, your partner have this one thing that's theirs, and you don't have to have a reason for it? You don't have to prove your like to yourself or to anyone else what the reasoning is. Like, people are weird. We're all human. Like, our brains like are tickled by different little things. Maybe he does have OCD. Like, as a person who has self-diagnosed OCD, there are certain things that my brain, like, I can't focus on anything else. And like my brain feels like it's to one half of my head. And I'm starting to get into it now. No, this is what I need to say to my doctor, not on my podcast, but I'm just trying to set the scene because I feel like I personally relate to this. Like, here's an example. Sometimes when I set something down in a drawer or in a refrigerator, if it's not perfectly placed at like a certain angle, and I can't tell you what the angle is, it just depends on the day and how I'm feeling, I then need to go back to the refrigerator. Like I close it. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. It's not fine. I turn around. I have to walk back. And this is why I think I have a disorder. I have to take the object and rub it along a 90-degree angle and like feel the two perfect angles rubbing together in order to continue my day. So
okay. Yeah.
I have problems.
Yeah.
But if someone stopped me in that time and they were like, don't go and take the oat milk container and rub it along the 90-degree angle, I wouldn't be able to like function. And so I'm putting myself in his shoes and I do like, I would be so mad. I'd be like, I'm not choosing to live my life like this. Do you think I want to have this fucked up thought? Do you think I want to take the item that I just set down in the drawer and like, I can't think of anything else until I go back to the drawer, open the drawer and rub it on the 90-degree angle? You guys, I'm fucked.
And I'm here to validate that like maybe you do.
I think I do because my friend, no, I actually really like, I'm self-diagnosed, but it's on my to-do list to make should I be saying this on the podcast? I don't know.
Right.
It's on my to-do list to make a doctor's appointment with my PCP so that I can start the process of potentially getting on medication because one of my friends has OCD. And it's like what we were saying earlier. It's like OCD is not just like, oh, I like my kitchen to be clean.
Yeah.
It's like, you can be obsessive about that. You can be compulsive about that, but it doesn't mean you have a disorder until it like negatively affects your life. I think there's like criteria. But anyway, my friend, when I talked to her, she's like, I think you do. Like, you should probably talk to someone about that. And it's just like getting worse as I get older. So I do need to like figure it out. But anyway, this is not about me.
It's nice to hear from other people.
Right?
Like, yes, that sounds legit. Because I feel like mental illness, people are like, no. No, it's in your head. I mean, literally it is, but like... Yeah,
I see what you mean.
It is nice to hear like, no, that sounds real. Like, I think...
Yes. And then my friend is like, oh, and I got put on medication for it, and I don't think like that anymore. It's amazing. And she's like, I can't believe like I didn't do it sooner. Like, I can't believe how my brain works now. I'm like, I probably should...
I don't have to live like this.
Yes. I was at my friend's house recently. I put something in the dishwasher and I was like, oh, let me just change. And he was like, oh, no, it's fine. I was like, oh, and he's like, no, it's really fine. It's so fine. Like, you don't have to move it. And I was like, I have to move it.
Okay, but it's not fine.
I was like, I'm so sorry. I have to move it. Like, Anyway, so all that's irrelevant. But I'm just saying, I relate to the person because if my partner was like, just stop rubbing that object along a 90-degree angle, I'd be like, you don't understand me and we're just not compatible if you're gonna try to control my thoughts like this.
Goodbye.
Yeah. So I think the backpack would be, I wouldn't immediately break up. I would do what you said and ask them a deep explanation for it. She needs to dig deep with herself. Like, why does it annoy you so much that your boyfriend has one item that he doesn't want to share, or 3? I keep saying 1, but she only took 1.
Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. What are the underlying issues? Oh, Trish, I'm curious to see your take on this one because you're a good gift giver. And this one's about gift giving. Am I the asshole for being upset my girlfriend is selling a gift? I, 25 male, just found out that my girlfriend, 25 female, is selling a gift my parents got her a couple of weeks ago. My parents got us matching hats for Christmas. She blocked my Facebook account from seeing it, but I saw it accidentally while browsing Marketplace while not logged in. I haven't talked to her about it, but am I wrong for being upset? I would understand if she told me she didn't like it or wouldn't wear it, but the fact that she's intentionally hiding it makes me upset. And then I just want to say one point that one of the top comments said. It's not guaranteed that she hid him from seeing it. Facebook, like, I think the default is that it automatically hides it from friends when you put it on Facebook. So that's, or Facebook Marketplace. So that's possibly why he couldn't see it when he logged in, but he could see it when he wasn't logged in. So it's not like necessarily true that she's intentionally hiding it.
Right.
And like blocking him.
Yeah. It is weird that she didn't say anything about it, though. Aw. That's kind of sad because they're matching hats. Like, that's kind of cute.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, that's probably not everyone's taste to, like, match with your partner, which is fine. But it just sounds like a cute little gift. There is thought behind it. I understand getting gifts from people you're not super close to and they don't know you super well, so they give you kind of like a generic candle or, like, just something that would appeal to, like, many people. And then, say, for instance, it's a candle and it's a scent you just really don't like, so you're going to give it away. Obviously, you're not going to use it. So I understand, like, at least in my opinion, I would rather, if I get a gift that I don't love, like, I would rather give it away for someone to use instead of putting it in the trash into a landfill, or maybe just having it, like, sit in my drawer indefinitely when, like, someone else might actually appreciate it. I appreciate that, but that's for, like, non-meaningful gifts. A matching hat set is, like, to me, that's really cute. I don't know if I would necessarily be wearing it all the time, but, like, I don't know, that's kind of cute. So that makes me a little sad, especially since she didn't tell him. It does sound a little bit like she's hiding it too.
I would feel more sad if I give someone a gift. I feel like I've said this on a lot of episodes, but I think if I give someone a gift that is just like a piece of clothing or like something that is a stylistic choice, and then if they don't like it that much and they're like, oh, I'd rather have it in like this color, or like I'd rather have the shorter style, like, I don't get offended over stuff like that. So I can see why she would, like, not want it, but I would get more offended if my parents gave my partner something and then they didn't like it, because I'd be like, oh, my parents tried so hard.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I don't care about me. You can hurt my feelings.
Right.
But, like, don't hurt. Well, it just, like, wouldn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
But, like, if my parents, like, put time and effort into it and then they were like, yeah, I don't want this bullshit, I'd be like, you don't respect my family.
Yes.
And fuck you.
Like, those hats are adorable. Yeah.
I do think it was shady, and it was not the right choice for her to do it without talking to her partner, because like, that's only gonna bite you in the ass later. What if he randomly asked you, like, oh, do you want to take a picture and wear? That's what he should do. No, he shouldn't. He shouldn't play games. You shouldn't play games with your partner.
No,
shouldn't test them. But it kind of would be funny if he was like, oh, let's bring them on this trip and we can, like, do a cutesy thing for my parents where we take a picture in like 5 different places wearing them. And then what? She'd have to come clean.
Yeah. It just feels like that specific gift has a little bit of sentimentality to it. And a little bit of, like, thought into what they would like, as opposed to, like, what I was saying earlier about just a general gift that you could give to literally anyone. Then I would be like, okay, I don't feel quite as bad giving this away because there maybe wasn't a ton of thought behind it, or, like, they don't really care that much. Not that I'm saying, like, people who don't put thought into gifts are, like, thoughtless and mean. Like, maybe they just don't know what to get you, so they give you, like, a safe gift. But also, like, there's no meaning behind it, or it's not sentimental. So it's like, is it that big of a deal if you give it away? Maybe not.
I wonder if he's hurt that she gave it away, or if it's that she didn't tell him. Oh, yeah. Okay. He said, I would understand if she told me she didn't like it or wouldn't wear it, but the fact that she's intentionally hiding it from me makes me upset. So I guess it is more like, not that she doesn't like it.
She's just not being honest.
I feel like she just went about it in the wrong way. I feel like if this is her only offense, maybe she just, I mean, a lot of people do get offended if you don't like the gift they got you. So maybe it is more like she just doesn't want to hurt him.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to hurt his parents. Like, maybe that's what she is avoiding, is like thinking that being honest is going to hurt their feelings.
Yeah, maybe. That's true. To stick on theme, I don't think there's really much else going on here.
Yeah.
I don't think there's underlying issues.
Yeah, I feel like it was just that she made like the wrong decision about like what would actually hurt him.
Yeah. Aww.
Sorry, parents.
I feel bad for his parents.
Okay, this is an interesting one. Am I the asshole for having a fight over my girlfriend following her ex again? I was in a relationship with this girl who had one relationship of 1 year, and that guy basically cheated on her, but was in a parallel relationship with his fiance while being with my ex. Okay. From time to time, my ex mentioned her ex quite in good word. He was a good guy. He made me so happy. He loved me. I was like, WTF, he cheated on you? How can you respect him? And she was like, well, yeah, but there was still good things that he did for me, you know? He had a fiance while he was dating her? Wait, before I continue, I don't want to forget to say this. My best friend gives really, really good advice. And you know how a lot of people are quick to be like, oh, well, my ex is crazy. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily that I don't believe you, because it's like, yeah, it's like, well, what did you do to make her crazy? That's like the surface level first question that you could ask. But my friend raised the point recently that's like, your ex was crazy. Sure. Why did you stay with them for that long?
Yeah.
Like, you dated her for 2.5 years and now you claim up and down that she is so crazy. So if you knew this, like, it wasn't just when you broke up, it was through your whole relationship. Like, they cheated on me. They did this. They texted their ex. Like, she did drugs and lied about it. Like, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm using real examples of a conversation that I actually had. And he's like, yeah, she was so crazy. I was with her for 2.5 years. What's wrong with you? Not that she's crazy, but that you accepted that behavior for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Or maybe it started a year in. So 1.5 years. You accepted this crazy behavior as your life partner.
Yeah.
Not to like victim blame the OP. But like, if she's saying all of this stuff and she thinks a guy who cheated on his fiance with her and actively dated her while having a fiance, she thinks he's a good guy. And like, regardless of all of that stuff, he's a good person and he does good things. That's what she thinks is good character. So like, why are you with her if that's what she's constantly saying about her ex?
True.
And she won't take your word for it when you tell her and try to explain, oh, this actually isn't good character. So like, he can get you gifts. He can be nice to you. He can be nice to your friends. All of that is kind of irrelevant when he has a fiance.
Yep.
And that is actually who he is.
Yes.
That is a bigger tell of character than these little things here and there that he does.
Yeah,
in my
100%.
opinion, at least.
No, same.
And if she cannot believe that, like, she cannot be convinced that him dating her while he had a fiance makes him not a great person and that he has bad character, why are you with her? Obviously, she can't judge character well. So she may lack character herself. Anyway, we can continue on.
And then are you like a bad person too?
Yeah, it's like, are you then a bad judge of character?
Yeah.
If you like her and she is clearly like, I don't know, like, it's like a trickle down thing.
But what if she's saying like, you're a good guy, but also my ex was a good guy? Are you on the same level as her ex?
So true. Yeah. What's your problem, OP?
Yeah.
We like switch it up so fast.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Anyway, he's with the ex. Okay. It bothered me really that she mentioned him so much. And I said it numerous times that it bothers me, but she didn't care, I think. She then said to me out of the blue that she found out and checked it that he didn't cheat on her in the end. And I was like, WTF, why did you need to check that out? That's fucking weird.
That's very weird.
So like, for I don't know how long, your ex is trying to explain to you that like, he's still a really good guy even though he cheated on his fiance. And then she is doing all this research to still try to defend the ex. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's like, girl, just stop talking about him.
Yeah,
like,
just
please.
move on.
And she's like, but wait, there's more. He didn't cheat on his fiance with me.
Wait, there's an update.
Yeah. And he's like, I still don't fucking care about your ex. He can do whatever he wants. Okay. He drunk called her at 2 a.m. singing songs, and she was okay with it, not blocking or even answering at first, claiming it was an unknown number and telling all that in front of me like I was her friend or something. And then I said, if you mention him one more time, I'm breaking up with you, basically making boundaries. Okay. I feel like that's fair. I mean, that's really bizarre behavior from her. And then she unfollowed him from Instagram and still mentioned him from time to time, but not much. She then, after some time, followed him again, and I confronted her about it, being nice and saying, I'm not going to control you. If you feel like removing him, do so. If not, it's okay. She got all defensive, defending him, saying, I respect something I had with my ex, while she calls me names and offends me and disrespects me, rejecting my unconditional love. He's just like on a spiral right now. While defending someone who cheated on her and basically was his toy when he was bored with his fiance. And she has the audacity to speak about respecting. I then told her to go with her ex if she liked him more. She was so shook and basically told me, you called me a... Wow, this man is spiraling. I'm so sorry. Basically saying, you called me a whore. And I said, no, I didn't. I just said if you want to go to your ex, so be it. Just leave me alone. This is so messy.
I'm just picturing someone just slamming on the keyboard and then she's sweating.
Yeah. We broke up because she couldn't get over the fact that I called her a whore.
Okay.
Despite me forgiving all the things that she did, and it was mind-boggling stuff because I thought it would be worth it, and I blocked her everywhere. Am I the asshole, guys? How old are you?
What a whirlwind.
How old are they?
Yeah.
They're old enough that her ex has a fiance.
True.
And she had time to do all this.
Yes.
They can't be that young if she really had time to do all of this stuff.
That was a novel.
That was just a lot.
Yeah. That man really took some time to write that out.
Okay, but you know what? In the same way that the girlfriend is like doing all this research and like turning to social media to try to defend her ex and like make sense of his actions in the past, this OP is kind of doing the same thing. Like he's turning to Reddit to try to like feel okay with the actions that he took and like ask other people for validation and be like, but wait, you guys, I'm not crazy, right? Because my ex is like this. And like, wasn't she doing the same thing?
Sounds like it.
Like she was like, I need to prove that my ex is not crazy. And he's like, I need to prove my ex is crazy. Like, it doesn't really matter what your ex did. Like, you don't need to justify every action that somebody else takes. You can just let it go.
Yep.
I mean, of course they're not compatible. They both...
Heck no.
The girl seems worse.
Yeah. She's going through something, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I'm also curious if he's actually an ex or just like an ex thing. Not like an ex-boyfriend.
Oh, really? Why?
Well, it just doesn't sound like they were in like a real relationship. It sounded like it was just like he said that he would call her when he got bored with his fiance.
Right.
So I don't know.
Right.
And now she's like obsessive about proving that he's a good guy. But it's like, were you guys even dating? Like, why does it even matter?
Right. And even if they weren't dating yet, why does it even matter?
Yeah.
Why are you going so hard trying to prove it to your new partner?
Yes.
That your old
does not matter.
Well, maybe she just wants to prove that like she didn't put up with a cheater or someone of that bad of character.
Right.
But, you know, something tells me that's not why. Something tells me she's never heard the word character.
Yeah.
Referring to like who you are and not just like someone in a movie.
Mickey Mouse.
Yes. It's just so funny to me because I feel like on the podcast recently I've had a lot of conversations about like people taking things personally and like someone says something and they're like quick to be like, well, you really mean this. And he said to her, if you want to be with your ex, go be with him. And she was like, well, you just called me a whore.
That's right. Like,
when did I say that?
Yeah, when? Where?
She's so immature. Yeah. They definitely need to break up. So are you wrong? No. Or the asshole? No.
But you sound just a little bit crazy as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he might just be spiraling.
Yeah.
And caught up in emotion, but it definitely is something weird. I'm
not saying I wouldn't be sweating typing on Reddit if this happened to me either.
True.
I'm just saying.
True.
I don't know. You sound a little crazy.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's call it a day with that one.
Cool.
We said a lot.
Yeah.
And they said a lot.
They did. As they always do.
They always do. It seems like in these posts, they either say way too much or they just don't give enough.
Yeah.
And it depends on what like confirmation bias they have.
Yes.
I want to do like call-ins where people call in and talk to us and we can like ask them questions back.
True.
And be like, really, what are you going?
Yeah.
What are
What's
you
the context here?
Yeah.
Give us more.
Yes. So if anyone has any situations, relationship situations that are like lighthearted, okay, I don't want to deal with like the worst thing that's ever happened to you.
Yeah.
I am not qualified. But if it's like a little dating shit that doesn't actually matter, or maybe like a friendship breakup, I feel like I could handle that.
We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, totally. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you liked the episode. I feel like it was a little all over the place. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was it?
I mean, we like always say that, and then they always sound more coherent when I listen back.
That's a good point.
I don't really know though.
Sure, that one. Yeah. All right, we'll see.
Yeah. But then I also listen and I'm like, maybe I didn't say things clearly, but like I'm me, so I know what I was trying to say.
Yeah, that is such a good point, and I wish I didn't think about that. Yeah, because I know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But do other people perceive me the way I perceive me?
Right.
But
I'll listen back and I'm like, you're doing great. You're doing great, sweetie. Keep going.
Sometimes
Perfect.
I listen and I think the opposite. Like sometimes I'm like,
same.
oh yeah, that was a good point. Like, good job. But then a lot of times I'm like, where were you going with that?
Oh yeah, same. I was just joking earlier. I'm always like, what were you doing? What were you doing?
No, I think we got it. I think we're doing well. Tell us in the comments, but only if you think we did well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or lie to us and tell us we did well if you didn't like it. Thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast. Please share it with your friends. Please share it with your friends. Please, please, please. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.